Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our channel, The Buddhist Meditator. And I'm Lama Dawa Zangpo, traditionally trained in a Tibetan Buddhist lineage. And we are here discussing kind of introductory and basic beginning level Tibetan Buddhist meditation practice and the sort of surrounding philosophy, what I call the context within which meditation takes place. And this is unscripted. This is a Q&A kind of format with Tal tonight, who is a beginning level meditator, is pretty new to Buddhism. And so hopefully this will be relevant to many of you viewing this. And I just want to say that you're all welcome and warmly invited to please submit questions, comments down below. And feel free, if you're actually interested in joining us in a live Zoom session, such as this, you are invited to, and you're welcome. So you could just reach out to us at the Buddhist Meditator at gmail.com. And we would love to engage you. So that's it for the introductory remarks. We're going to dive right in. I'm going to turn it over and let Tal start us off with a question. This is all unscripted and off the cuff. I don't know what we're going to be discussing tonight exactly, but we try to keep this relevant to actual meditation practice. Okay, Tal.
So as a beginning meditator, some of the things that could happen to me, as happened recently, it got very busy in life and I missed a few practices, and that could be a downward spiral of sorts. What advice do you have for a beginning meditator to avoid that? Or if you're noticing that you're missing several, and is there something that you can say to that would help somebody get back in because they have the intentions and they want to? If that makes sense, question.
There's a famous saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
That's true.
So good intentions are clearly not enough. Beyond that, there's not a lot I can say because honestly, it's on you. And that's the thing that's intimidating for some people about Buddhism, is it's about the ball is in our court, right? We have to take responsibility for our life. I always say, this isn't to spoon feed people. We're not trying to hold people's hands. We're grown-ups, we're adults. And, but practice is grounded. So here's the thing. Practice is grounded in understanding why practice is so important. And if we don't really get it, we're going to have all kinds of lapses and excuses, and it's not going to be an absolute priority. We have things backwards. The world takes precedence and our busyness takes precedence. And then meditation is relegated to kind of, it's sort of almost like a hobby. It's something that I'll fit in and I'll do. Well, okay, it's understandable. We're not raised in a Buddhist culture, and maybe we don't have a deep enough appreciation for, it's not just that meditation is good for us. That's not sufficient. I've said this many times. It's not to lower your blood pressure, get rid of your migraine headaches, lower your stress. That's not, anything can do that. A vacation at a spa will do those things, right? And all kinds of medications will do that, or a couple of good stiff drinks, or whatever your thing is. So we have to understand our situation as, to try not to use much jargon, but we're sentient beings. We are, meaning sentient, it means we have a mind, we think. And because we think, we experience our world. And the feedback we get gives us some happiness and satisfaction and joy, and that don't last. And then it also gives us a lot of anxiety, worry, frustration, insecurity, and pain of different kinds. And for most of us, it's low level, very low level. So it's easy to minimize. Oh, my life's good. I don't really need much help. I don't really need to do anything about it. I'll just coast along with my life, and hopefully I'll get a raise, and hopefully I'll find somebody to be in a relationship with, and so on and so forth. And most people, not everyone, but lots of people settle for that kind of thing. That's where the bar is set. If we consider that we're stepping onto, or at least exploring, the Buddhist path, or let's just say the path of living a life of intention, a life of some kind of commitment to betterment, and we want a better life for ourselves, and we can even envision perhaps a better world. And we take that into account. And then, of course, if we really look more deeply at certain teachings that are not cultural and they're not quaint, things from the past, but supposed to be eternal realities, real truths, meaning that experience is ongoing, even if we leave our body, even when we die. That there's, that's part of the problem here, is we don't believe in reincarnation. We don't understand what that really means, or what Buddhists mean by that.
I think that's a very profound idea for a lot of people that don't think about it too much.
Well, yes. But right now we're just addressing your question and your situation. So if we don't take it, don't understand it, don't believe it, don't take it seriously, then, as the saying goes, you only live once. A Buddhist would never really say, sort of a real or true Buddhist would never say you only live once, because that's simply not what a Buddhist believes. We don't only live once, we live ongoingly. To create a new word, we live ongoingly, meaning endlessly. Now, not in this body. We don't identify with the same self that we're relating to in this lifetime, and that's the problem, of course. But there is something that continues, some causes and consequences, some karmic stream, some kind of ongoing experience. The form changes, but there is some continuity. Now, again, we always say, don't take any of this stuff as an article of faith. Don't just take it, but the idea of, I think, of being a Buddhist practitioner is to look into this stuff, investigate it. It means investing some personal time away from maybe your screen or your TV show or whatever, and trying to ponder some things that maybe are a little more important, you could say, in the big picture, in the long run, and to develop a conviction. Now, again, not taking somebody's word for it, certainly not my word for it, and not the Buddha's word for it, no one's. But there are clues and teachings and different hints and things that can help us maybe understand and take these things under consideration. Now, this is not culturally, it's just not culturally popular. It's not the prevailing 21st century Western civilization view of things. But the 21st century Western civilization view of things is not necessarily the be all and end all. It may not have all the answers. Technologically, wow, we're super, super good. But doesn't mean we've solved the deeper issues, the fundamental issues of what it means to be a human being and the human experience, meaning we have emotions that jerk us around, that can really throw us off balance. We have habits and habitual patterns that keep us actually stuck. Sort of stuck what? Stuck in ourselves, stuck in who we think we are. So we all behave in predictable and sort of repetitive ways. We're very, very constrained in how we act and how we react to things. So from that perspective, we can say we don't have much in the way of actual real freedom. And at least historically and traditionally, people that actually made significant progress on this path of meditation and practice are people that they say practice like your hair is on fire. Like if your hair is on fire, you're gonna just douse it, try to do everything you can to get your head in a bucket of water or whatever immediately. There's no hesitation. Or the other metaphor is if you had a poisonous snake in your lap, you wouldn't dilly-dally. You would, try to just throw it off your lap as fast as possible. You wouldn't even think twice about it. And they say to be a practitioner, to understand the suffering that we experience and that we're going to continue to experience in future, let's say, lifetimes, we should bring that same sense of urgency. So I always say, Dharma is not a hobby. And if we treat it as a hobby, it's okay. I mean, that's your prerogative, right? That's not something no one can tell anybody how to approach anything in life. This is free will and self-responsibility. But from the perspective of teaching this, I have to say that it's not a hobby. And I don't teach this as if it's a hobby. If it's a hobby, then yeah, we fit it into our life where it's convenient and so on. And we can sort of strut around and say to people, oh yeah, I'm a Buddhist, or I meditate or something. And it becomes another like credential, just sort of a little badge of honor or something you can talk about at a party, to make small talk or to maybe impress somebody or something. But this is not like that. It's not a hobby. I mean, it could be. If it's your hobby, that's fine. But frankly, and I'm not saying this to you, Tal, I'm saying this to any viewer or anybody. If it's your hobby, change the channel. Don't watch this anymore, please. I don't want to waste your time. So, that's how I feel about it. So that's a little harsh. I admit that. I might be considered a little extreme, at least in the context, again, of 21st century America, where anything goes and everything's available and you can TikTok about anything you want or whatever. So, to me, this is the great matter. I don't know the exact quote, but there's something engraved over the portal entering a Zen monastery in Japan. And it's something like those who enter this, are engaging the great matter of life and death, or something like that. This is the great matter of life. And it's something we don't take much seriously anymore in the 21st century. It seems like the bar has really gotten low in many respects. And it's time to stop. It's time to just stop and take stock and go, wait a second. Where's my life heading? What am I doing with my life? And am I really making it meaningful? Am I extracting the essence of it? Am I doing everything I can to make my life meaningful and to reach my full potential? So again, that can sound very extreme and very, very extreme. And yes, it is. But in the past, for more than 2,000 years, again, I don't say this because it's not a cultural thing, but people stopped and took a deep look at their life and decided they wanted to do things differently than what their surrounding society was doing, or what the surrounding society was valuing or saying is important. And they said, wait a minute, I'm not buying into all that. I need to really think for myself. This is really important. This is my life. And ultimately, this is a path of empowering us individuals to sort of seize and take control of our life and make whatever we can of it and reach our potential. And what does that mean, to reach our potential? It actually means to free yourself from being jerked around by your thoughts and your habits and your emotional responses to things. That's called freedom. That's called mastery, becoming a master of your life. Instead of just sort of, excuse me, instead of kind of going through the motions and just, being on automatic pilot or just doing things the way we've always done things and sort of cross our fingers and hope things turn out for the best. A little bit of luck, a little bit of hard work, but where do we put our efforts, our hard work? Accumulating money, our jobs and our careers. And then maybe after that comes relationships. For most people in the modern world, it's first about money and securing my life. And that's an endless thing because we never have enough money. We always want more. We're never satisfied. So how many people are really content? Maybe Jeff Bezos has enough money and he's content, but I don't know. Maybe him and Musk and a few others. But most people, even millionaires and billionaires, workaholics, keep going, nose to the grindstone. And then what happens? You make as much money as you can, and then you basically are getting old and maybe you get diseased or sick or something happens. And you certainly, no matter what, you can't take it with you when you die.
Nope, the Egyptians tried.
Well, lots of people have, and people still do, and then what? All the wealth you have when you are dying, it's gonna cause most people, a lot of worry and concern, like who's gonna get it and what are they gonna do with it? And maybe they're gonna misuse it or they're gonna, whatever. It's just complicated. But we do know that wealth and money doesn't really give us any kind of permanent, lasting, deep fulfillment. It does on a superficial level. I'm not denying that. And money is not a bad thing. It's a good thing, whether you're Buddhist or anything, it doesn't matter. Money allows us to live our life for sure. And being comfortable and also trying to not have to stress about bills and our debts and things is a good thing, of course. But beyond that, let's talk about balance. So all this is trying to answer your question, as I said, I can't do it for you. Nobody can tell you what to do. I'm saying this again to all of you viewers, not just to Tal, it's about kind of priorities. But no matter how busy our life is, if it's really a priority to keep working on ourselves, we have to understand one thing: continuity matters. Continuity of practice, even if it's 10 minutes, but if even if you have a busy day coming up, you go to bed, if you can, a little bit earlier the night before. You set your alarm clock a little bit earlier and you squeeze it in. You try, because you're making a commitment to yourself. I need you, and then the days that I have a little more time, I can get back to my more regular, more substantial practice. But try to keep something going. It's the only suggestion I can make. But it's all predicated on kind of this context, this understanding that there's a reason why we're doing this. And again, if it's only just to lower your stress and your headaches and your blood pressure and all that stuff, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. So I've said this to many times. Those of you that have watched our videos or want to go check some of the older previous ones, this is not teaching a technique. I'm not here teaching a meditation technique, at least not alone by itself. The technique is to achieve this understanding and this goal of freedom. Again, so our thoughts and our habits and our emotional reactions to things don't run the show. Meditation is to start to give us not just calmness and peace of mind, which is great, but that's not sufficient. It's very important and it's basic and it's a stepping stone, and we must get that. Let's at least start there. Calm our mind, calm our being, relax ourselves. Okay, yes, that's very important, and that's a foundational thing. And hopefully that will give us kind of the green light to keep going further. But the further part is, as the mind is calmer, more clear, more present, we can start to look more deeply at ourselves, at our life, at our thoughts, at our patterns, at our habits. And when we start to look at all those things, then we can start to get some leverage, some handle on it, because we're acknowledging and seeing these things more clearly than ever before, they lose their grip over us. And we start to get mastery over our thoughts. We get mastery over our habitual patterns. We get mastery over our emotional reactions to things. That's the point. And that can go very far. Part of the issue or problem here is, as, let's say, 21st century Americans, we don't have a rich tradition of this kind of practice and perspective. So we don't really have role models to even look at. So we don't have much faith that this is even doable, achievable, or realistic, or even desirable, because the people we look up to, Beyonce or The Rock or whoever, and I don't know much about modern pop culture and stuff, so it's about the only names I know. But anyway, you get my point. We look up to people like that. We don't look up to, great yogis and masters that have really overcome their habitual ways of thinking. And maybe The Rock is a great yogi. I don't know.
It's true that what you're saying, that we're in Western civilization, we don't have that tradition. That I wouldn't even have asked this question if we did. It's a good reminder that you just gave me all of this. I know this, and then I still asked it because we forget, and it's not ingrained within us, or at least not within me. Let's say it that way. Bob Marley has a good line: "Free yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds."
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, Bob Marley. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
No, it's extremely true, and it's exactly right. Now, the other thing I can say is, we don't feel guilty because we miss a practice or two.
I do.
Well, that's cultural baggage.
That's true.
So, we have to, that's part of the practice, is learning to even let that go. But we find that balance. I mean, instead of beating ourselves up or feeling guilty, what's the more constructive, proactive thing is, well, then we remedy the situation. We don't do it again. We get back on the horse, or we get back on the meditation mat the very next morning. Don't let it slide any further. And then just go forward. Just keep going forward. Because I've said before, it's like brushing our teeth. You don't not brush your teeth ever. I mean, every day, every morning, you brush your teeth before you go out into the world. And meditation should be like that, in my view. It's almost should be just as unthinkable. We don't start our day without at least spending, hey, if you can only do 5 or 10 minutes, do 5 or 10 minutes. Here's where many people trip themselves up, Tal. People will say, oh, wow, I don't have much time. I overslept, or I'm busy. If I can't do my full 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 50 minutes, I might as well not do anything. But that's not true. Better to do 10 minutes than not do anything at all.
Yeah.
So there's a famous saying that I love, which is, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. And many of you that are watching this have heard that. Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. So don't get so hung up on being perfect that you don't at least do good. Do good. Don't worry about being perfect.
True.
But nobody gets up after meditating. Virtually nobody gets up after meditating saying, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Or that was, I really feel like that was just a waste of my time. Almost nobody feels that way. Everybody's like, oh, well, that was good. I'm glad I did that. So why not be good to ourselves? Then your life is going to sweep you away anyway. The rest of the day, you're going to get caught up in all the stuff you're doing, So you might as well at least get a few minutes of something really like sort of focused and clear in the morning to kind of start things off on the right foot. And then, as I said, keyword, continuity. That means try to do every day, and try to do your full session every day. But if you can't, and nobody can, because life is just the way it is, at least some of those days that you can't do a full session, at least get in 5 or 10 minutes.
That's the key.
Yeah. So that's it. That's enough on that.
Okay. Yeah, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. I like that. And it's something that I got to keep in mind. It's 100%, why didn't I put those 5 minutes in? Is because I was thinking I got to put 20.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But put in 5 quality minutes and make that your focus. Like, I'm going to make this 5 minutes really, I'm not going to be thinking about the rest of my day that's coming up. I'm going to really be here. And that's real training. That's real practicing. That's good. That's a great 5 minutes. It's better than 20 minutes where you're sort of just half there and you're thinking about other things. But it's not the quantity, right, as we always say, it's the quality. 5 good minutes is way better than 20 kind of mediocre or not very good minutes.
Sure.
So yeah. So it's a great question. It's relevant to everybody, all of you watching. We all go through this. So yeah, good. Thanks for the question.
If I would just sum up, the answer to the question is understand the underlying reason for the practice, and then you will not skip because you're working for yourself, to progress yourself. It's not quantity, it's quality. And it's also putting something for consistency, not necessarily, doesn't have to be your full session. I don't know. I'm just babbling. Never mind.
That's fine. It's fine. It's a prioritizing, and priorities are based on understanding the reason why.
Yes. The why.
So, we talked about in previous videos, I'll repeat it right now briefly for the people that are coming in new to this teaching and haven't seen previous videos. We have the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, meaning turn the mind towards our meditation, towards deeper contemplation, towards understanding the context of our life. And what are those 4 thoughts that turn the mind? They are, first, the fact that this life is a very precious opportunity, and it's not to be taken for granted. And to be born as a human being is actually a pretty rare and special thing. The second thought that turns the mind a little bit further is meaning turns away from just trying to accumulate money, let's say, and thinking about these more sort of deep things. So the second thought is that it's impermanent and fleeting. So this rare and special opportunity we have as being a human being that can practice, that can understand teachings, that this opportunity is not going to last forever. So first we said, don't take this for granted. Now this is sort of a similar kind of thing. Don't just assume it's here and it's going to always be here. If you get really sick or something happens, or you're not going to practice. Once your life ends, you're not going to practice. So here, while we're alive, we have our faculties and our senses and our health. Take advantage of this opportunity. That's the second thought, because it's impermanent. The third is that everything has consequences. And if we want freedom, we have to sow the seeds of personal liberation or personal freedom or personal self-empowerment or personal, when I say freedom, I mean freedom from, again, the tyranny of our thoughts running the show and jerking us around, the tyranny of our emotional reactions to things, the things that don't keep us free. So what are the causes and consequences? We say create good karma. The good karma, so to speak, to use a word that's well known by everybody, is this kind of meditative training, putting into practice, becoming familiar with how our minds work, and seeing clearly that we do have knee-jerk reactions to things, seeing clearly that we do have predictable, habitual ways of living our life that are constrained, as I said earlier. So that's the third thought, that if we want a result, we need to generate the causes that will give us that result. That's what this third thought means. So if we want to be happy, truly content, we have to create the causes for happiness and contentment and understand what those causes are to give us true happiness, true contentment. Peace of mind. If we want peace of mind, what gives us peace of mind? So that's the third thought. And then the fourth thought is that true peace of mind and contentment and happiness does not come from ordinary worldly things. Ordinary worldly things will give us a little bit of temporary happiness, but not a tremendously deep, huge amount. A new car doesn't make us that happy. We're not just like ecstatic because we get a brand new car or a brand new laptop or whatever, or even a new house. I mean, yes, it gives us some happiness, a little bit of something, feels good, of course, but it doesn't enlighten us. It doesn't get rid of our deep-seated fears and anxieties and worries at all. So the things of the world fall short. So that's the fourth thought, is really realizing, where does it make the most sense to put my energy? So yes, put some energy into making money and having a safe, good vehicle and a nice place to live and all that. That's great. But don't put all your energy into that necessarily, because again, those things are not going to give you true peace of mind. Get rid of your anxiety, your deep-seated worries and fears and insecurities. It's not going to get rid of those things. So what does? Let's circle back. It's this understanding, the cultivation and development of true insight, true wisdom. And then a mind that learns how to be actually a calm, serene ocean of acceptance, of contentment, of presence. So like that. So those four thoughts need to be, or shouldn't say need, but they're very, very helpful to contemplate. And in the Tibetan tradition, Tibetan meditators and practitioners generally, often, many of us contemplate or just review in our mind those four thoughts every morning, every day. Every time we do our meditation, before we start actually kind of quote meditating, we actually think of those four thoughts or do a little recitation that reminds us of those four thoughts. And then we can take a moment or two and mull those over, sort of marinade in them, kind of just contemplate them a little bit. Okay, I think that's all we have time for this evening. Again, thank you all for watching, for your patience. And again, as I said in the beginning, please feel free to reach out. Feel free to join us if you'd like. And if you have any questions or subjects or anything you want to talk, you would like us to discuss, be more than happy to. So thank you one and all. And
thank you, Lama Dawa. I really appreciate you. And, you hear these things. There's so many instances where I've heard things over and over and over again. And then one day it just clicks. I think I had a clicking moment in this session of, it's funny that the way that works. But to the audience, please smash the like button, smash it, and subscribe. Sharing is very important. It's how we get the message out to everyone who may want to also join us on this journey. But please comment, and if you'd like to join us, you can email us, thebuddhistmeditator@gmail.com, and you can comment below. Thank you so much, Lama Dawa, again. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.